And somehow I managed to kill the stream. I managed to do it. It's a giant burrito-like thing. Oh no, a tiny bit of meat fell out. Yeah, damn it. Yeah, I mean, somehow the camera opened, and when the camera opens, then the connection breaks. Yeah, I mean, it took me serious when I said spicy, but it's good. But the other shop has better spicy sauce. But they made it with love. Chimichurri. That sounds interesting. Like, chimichurri sounds so good to me, but I don't even really know what it is. Oh man, it's too spicy, fuck. And here for $12, you can't say much, it's not bad. But this used to be like $7, like 20 years ago. And the meat was like better back then also. Oh, fuck. Yeah, but I feel like I would have to like eat it to know it. But yeah. Hopefully I don't miss it again. The war, Iran war. I watched some Iran war stuff already. Let's maybe watch more Iran stuff. Yeah, it's like a really bad football game. Yeah, they bombed like Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, or I don't know. Hello. Oh, somebody at the door. I have to go get somebody at the door. Oh shit, somebody at the door. Ah no. It's probably a hot Swedish woman. Okay, this part now less spicy, or my mouth is already burned. Oh shit! Some conspiracy theorist answered me on YouTube. Ah shit! I probably commented like years ago. Fuck. No, I actually don't have milk, but I have like iced tea. But that reminds me, like I should. Ah fuck! It's too late. The shop is gone. I mean, closed. Gonna have to drink fucking water. Oh no. It's my fault, Robin. It's my fault. I hope it's gonna be good, because sometimes they slap. Mexican food, nice. This is honestly, it's way too similar to Mexican food, right? Also, this fucking durian kebab. Yeah. I mean, as long as the food is good. Like sometimes I ordered and then it was bad, and then you really feel scammed. Can happen. Yeah, we have Uber Eats also, but it's kind of new. I never want to order fries. Like, fries cannot be good when you order them, because as soon as they're in this package, the steam, you know, makes them soggy. Never order fries. They can never be good. It's like impossible. Yeah, here it's probably because so many tourists also, you know. They can actually make money with tourists. And the locals are lazy fucks too. And we have another company that delivers also. What's happening in Iran?
Really a remarkable video address that was pre-recorded and released essentially as the bombs began falling in Iran. He said that the goal of the operation, he called it a massive military operation, was to ensure that Iran never had the capability of a nuclear weapon, but also aimed at limiting or destroying the country's military ballistic missile arsenal. But perhaps most importantly, he called on the Iranian people to rise up and seize the moment to essentially overthrow the regime. Let's take a brief listen to some of what he had to say.
To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is
I heard
the
that
moment
already,
for
but
action.
it's
Do
kind of
not
crazy.
let
The
it
second
pass.
time, it's like when you really get it, I feel
Take
like.
over your government, it will be yours to take. I mean, really, essentially,
It's like a movie.
the Iranian people
Like a movie.
to rise up and overthrow the regime. Really, I think offering insight into just what the U.S.'s ambitions are with this military operations. And for context, of course, it's really important to note that this is not the first time that the U.S. has attempted to instigate regime change in Iran. We have to go back to 1953 when the CIA helped to reinstall Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. That's the last Shah of Iran, who was then ultimately overthrown in 1979 during the Islamic Revolution. And of course, the Islamic Republic of Iran has been in power since then, now 47 years.
You mentioned that this is not the first time the United States has tried to interfere with the regime and bring about regime change. This isn't even the first time for this administration that they've carried out a set of attacks against Iran. So let's talk about what makes this operation different.
Yeah, I think a few things. So that 12-day war in June of last year was, and it's easy to say this in retrospect, a lot more contained, a lot more focused. Obviously, the U.S. was really targeting Iran's nuclear facilities during that military campaign, in partnership, of course, with Israel. But the strikes really were around 3 facilities. They didn't have seemingly the same ambitions that the president stated this morning, which was which was to overthrow the regime. So this operation is much more
like
wide
strawberry.
in scope. Also, while there was a military presence in the region back in June, the military presence currently in the Middle East, the U.S. military presence, is enormous. We haven't seen
They're not
a
bad.
build-up like
They're not
this
the best,
since
but they remind me of the old
2003
times
when
also. They're
March,
still the same.
U.S. invasion of Iraq. So the U.S. really building towards this moment over the last several months, certainly the last several weeks. So definitely some differences between what we saw in June and what we're currently seeing. Also, I don't see this lasting only 12 days. I think this is a military campaign that will last weeks, if not months, depending, of course, on how much fight the Iranians have in them.
Willie, let me ask you about this new bit of information that we're hearing from the Secret Service on protective measures that are now underway inside the United States. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so the Secret Service, I'm just going to pull it up here, issued a statement a short while ago, essentially saying that they were actively monitoring the situation in Iran and telling people that there was perhaps going to be an enhanced security posture near protected sites here in the U.S. They were warning people that they might kind of notice an increased presence. That's perhaps not all that surprising considering what we're seeing taking place in the Middle East. Of course, at least over the last 8-9 hours, Iran's focus has seemingly been on U.S. forces in the region. We heard, of course, from several reporters about what they've been seeing, what we've been seeing in several countries in the region. I want to talk a little bit about the UAE. I lived there for several years. I've been speaking to friends, colleagues, contacts there this morning, and it's been a pretty frenetic situation there. I know in Abu Dhabi, the capital, they've heard lots of sounds of missiles being intercepted throughout the day, throughout the evening. Al Dhafra Air Base, which houses about 5,000 U.S. personnel, is not that far from an industrial area called Musafa, where people are living and working, and it's really quite close to the capital city of Abu Dhabi, just a few kilometers. So any targets headed towards Al Dhafra,
you know, the people of Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people of Abu Dhabi do.
We also know that the Houthis have hit the UAE in the past and have that capability. So that's something I think to keep an eye out as well going forward.
CBC's Willie Lowry in Washington. Thank you, Willie.
My pleasure.
We want to show you this live shot. This is in downtown Toronto, where a protest is taking place, a demonstration, I should say, by many Iranians within Canada who are cheering the events of the day. They want the executions carried out by the regime to be stopped. They want regime change, and they're out here on the streets on this cold last day of February, just hoping for some stability to come to their country. So these are some of the pictures we're seeing in Toronto. There are other protests taking place across the country, one large one in Richmond Hill. And we do want to hear from these voices. So if you're a protester out on these streets, reach out to CBC News. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you're feeling and what you're saying today and what this day means for you and for your family back in Iran. So stay tuned. We're going to continue to monitor these events and try to bring you voices live from on the ground at these protests as the day continues. In the meantime, we do want to get further analysis from Abbas Milani. He's an Iranian-American historian, educator, and author. He's also the director of Iranian Studies at Stanford University. Very good to have you on the show, sir. Thank you for making time for us.
My pleasure.
Mr. Milani, how are you feeling on this day that we are seeing warlike aggression taken on Iran?
Well, like every Iranian, I feel sorry for the people of Iran who are caught in the hands of a stupid, arrogant, murderous regime that doesn't understand the realities in the ground and thinks it can pick a fight with the entire world. And the people who pay the price are the innocent people of Iran. So I feel sad for the suffering of the people. But I think many people, as you indicated, both inside Iran and outside Iran, surprisingly embrace the fact that this regime might come.
This guy's impressive eye bags, massive.
After war. I don't think it will be a prolonged war. I don't think this regime will last that long. I think the fact that they stupidly attacked the Persian Gulf states indicates to me an act of desperation rather than an act of prudence. They knew these countries, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, were their virtually only hope of mitigating or maybe aborting this attack. To then immediately attack them, to me, indicates that they are desperate. They know that
it's Jover, only Doe left.
Battle for the regime and trying to use every audacious act.
But now I
don't think it's going to work.
Can stop eating until tomorrow. Nice.
Mr. Milani, it's so interesting to get your perspective because unlike what we've been hearing from many, you don't think this is going to be a long war, that this conflict is going to... You're saying the regime is going to fall. What brings you to that conclusion, sir? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, some of your brilliant reporting that I was listening to, this is a regime that survived essentially on terror and bluffs and bluster.
Terror.
Much of their power rested with these proxies. They use those proxies not just as a threat against Israel or the United States, but they literally use those proxies as a threat against Iran. They have used those proxies. They have brought Hezbollah units into Iran to suppress mass demonstrations in the past. Now they have lost all of that. Hezbollah, as you indicated, has basically said, we are with you, but you're on your own. Pakistan just announced that it is standing firm with the other Arab states of the Persian Gulf. So it is a regime that is isolated at home, profoundly weakened. Its command control structure militarily has been shattered. Its air defense system is virtually non-existent. The only thing it has at its disposal are these missiles that is lobbing at the United States, at U.S. bases, at UAE, and at Israel.
Guys, Lost, the series came out 22 years ago.
To me, again, I put
Holy
myself
shit.
in the shoes, although it's a very bad shoes to be in. of the Iranian regime. These acts are the last acts that you would do. These are acts of desperation where you say, okay, if I'm going to go down on this ship, I'll take the whole region with me, or I'll pull
I'm
the
going down
worst,
with this
maddest
ship.
gesture. To me, if you don't have the support of the people, and this regime doesn't, it has less than 10% of the support, the most reliable force we have. If you don't have an economy to rely on, this regime has a very dire economic situation, inflation, the value of the currency. To give your listeners a context, in 1979, you had 7 tuman, you will get
Amazing
$1.
pictures, Sir
Today,
Rizal.
you
Amazing.
need 170,000 tuman. You heard
On and
me
off.
correctly. From 7 to 1, it has gone to 170,000 to 1. So you have that kind of a fragile, broken economy. You have no allies left. China and Russia have virtually done nothing. Pakistan has sided with the other. You have lost all of your.
Yeah, but I wonder about
allies
that. Yeah,
in the
if like
region.
Russia would do anything, but
Many
they're
people
quite busy
inside
right
Iran
now also.
are rejoicing at the fact that the country is being attacked. The only time in modern history that I have ever seen this is in occupied France towards the end of the war, where people cherished the fact that the country was being attacked. That's what this regime has done to its people. It has made them angry. It has made them desperate. But with the failing economy, with no proxies, with no international support,
Still,
how
that's
are
the
they
same
going
as
to stand up
30 years
for
ago.
several weeks? Someone from within the regime, the mafia-like
I think
forces
like they're
within
more
the
now than
regime
back
who
then.
benefit from this existing status quo. They're going to get rid of Khamenei if Israel hasn't already killed them. So, to me, the likelihood of this being a prolonged war is very, very little. That's what the regime used as a bluff to dissuade the U.S. from entering there. That's what it used as a bluff to dissuade Israel from trying to start the war. But it failed. Both of them started. And I think President Trump knew that Iran might make these gestures, attack the bases. This time he said there will be casualties. He's made no such comment the last time he announced the attack. So I think he is dug in.
So it looks like the war has begun, and this time, it's all or nothing. The United States and Israel appear to be aiming for regime change in Iran, with rumors already coming out that Supreme Leader Khamenei has been killed. Meanwhile, Iranian drones and missiles continue to rain down all across the Middle East, and some of them are getting through. I mean, this is a video from just a few hours ago showing an Iranian Shahed-style drone striking a radar station at the U.S. naval base in Bahrain. This is a major facility, the head of U.S. Fifth Fleet. And the reason I'm showing that is because this time is different. We're not seeing these symbolic tit-for-tat retaliations with the goal of reestablishing deterrence and avoiding escalation. This is Iran throwing everything they have at the United States and Israel, threatening a broader regional war. The Iranian regime views this as their last stand, which is probably why, in his address to the American people last night, President Trump warned that this operation very well could cost the lives of America's sons and daughters. Let's turn to President Trump announcing this operation last night. It's a long address. We're just going to play a couple clips. Here we go.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to
Should we really listen to it again?
defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world.
Now, later in his speech, President Trump went on to explain kind of the objectives or the goals of this operation, and in summary, it's everything. He said, quote, "We're going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. We're going to annihilate their navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain the nuclear weapon." So in recent videos, we've talked a lot about what exactly is the goal. What are we going for here? Everything. I mean, President Trump, in his speech, gave an address to the Iranian people, saying, "When this is done, it'll be your chance. Stand up, take over your government." So, regime change, missiles, nuclear program, proxies, everything is on the table, as per President Trump last night. Now, sounds like the name of the U.S. operation is Epic Fury. We have some additional details from Fox
Somehow it
News
was only
correspondent
spicy on
Jim
one
Griffin,
side. Like, what
who
the fuck
spoke
did
with
this
some
guy do?
Pentagon officials, who said that this is the first time that the United States has used one-way attack drones in combat. As of now, we don't have any footage of those being utilized. She said the U.S. military has been focused on high-value targets, IRGC significant facilities and capabilities, naval facilities, and underground facilities.
I think I
likely
should switch to
associated
the
with
computer,
nuclear program.
probably.
The U.S. officials said that we have effectively suppressed the Iranian air defenses, and more
Well,
on
technically I
why
should go
that's
sleep
important
soon
and what that
already
could
also.
mean here in a moment. She adds that there were hundreds of targets in what is being described as a multi-day operation, and the U.S. official added that the Iranian response has so far been ineffective. We, of course, are going to take a look at the Iranian response so far. Now, we know at this point that this is a joint U.S.-Israeli operation. The name of the Israeli operation was Roaring Lion. Their IDF put out a statement saying, quote, "The IDF and U.S. armed forces have launched a broad and joint campaign to thoroughly degrade the Iranian terrorist regime and to remove existential threats to the state of Israel over time. The Iranian regime has not abandoned its plan to destroy Israel. In recent months, and despite the severe blow it sustained during Operation Rising Lion, the IDF identified that the regime continued efforts to advance production, fortify, and conceal its nuclear program, alongside rehabilitating its missile production processes. In the months preceding the strike, close and joint planning was conducted between the IDF and the U.S. military, enabling the execution of the broad strike in full synchronization and coordination between the two militaries. The IDF will continue to act to remove any emerging threat against the citizens of the state of Israel, anywhere and at any time. Even at this hour, the Israeli Air Force jets continue to strike targets across Iran based on precise intelligence. Operations will continue as required. And we are starting to get a fair amount of footage coming out of Israel showing the effects of these strikes targeting soldiers near some of the missile launch locations and a number of global missile launchers being taken out. A U.S. official said that Israel is focused on targeting the Iranian leadership, whereas the United States is targeting military facilities and ballistic missile sites that pose an imminent threat. They added that the U.S. military is not targeting Iran's leadership. And I want to say real quick, I think this is the first time that we've had a deliberate operation like this planned and carried out by the United States and Israel. Israel, no doubt, was involved in Operation Midnight Hammer. The lead up to that was only made possible because of Israelis' effects during the 12-day war. But in terms of the coordination in the airspace and American and Israeli jets overhead firing at targets at the same time, I think this is the first time this has happened, or at least the first time in a long time. So this is historic. Now, in terms of what we know so far that has been hit in U.S. and Israeli strikes, it looks like the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence, the Ministry of Defense, a handful of military commanders' offices, the Iran Atomic Energy Organization, numerous government and judicial authority buildings, as well as the home of the supreme leader, shown here. So clearly that was destroyed. Not to suggest that he was necessarily there. Likely he's been underground for some time, but it does look like that Khamenei was the focus of at least one significant Israeli operation. And they, as of right now, are assessing that he very well may have been killed. Quoting the Times of Israel, they say, Israel assesses that Iran's supreme leader was likely killed in an Israeli strike earlier today. They're quoting Channel 12, citing unnamed Israeli sources. It says there are growing indications to this effect. There is no official confirmation of this report. The TV station had said minutes earlier that the Israeli assessment was that Khamenei was hurt at the very least, and that this was not an assessment based on satellite imagery, but rather on information from unnamed sources. So it's not a matter of, look, that house is destroyed, so whoever's in it must have been killed, because we know that never is perfect in terms of battle damage assessment, but rather someone on the ground. That's kind of what they're saying. They have sources inside of Iran saying that Khamenei may have been killed. I have not seen anything to this point inside of Iran even addressing that claim, for what it's worth. Now, in terms of what we've seen so far and what do you see coming here in the near future, it's likely that U.S. strikes were focused on clearing out the airspace and the air defense assets to allow for follow-on waves of the manned aircraft. I believe in terms of aircraft overhead at this point, we know Israel has put some aircraft up. U.S. unmanned craft have certainly been over Iran. I think there's a Reaper spotted. A lot of Tomahawk missiles, so standoff munitions used in this first wave of strikes. When it comes to volume, We're able to put a lot of munitions on target over a short period of time.
Okay, gonna end
And
stream
bombs,
here and
not
then
missiles.
start on
Bombs
the
are
computer.
cheaper. We can stack more of them in
But not long,
aircraft,
just a little bit.
and in most
And
cases,
nothing
a bigger boom.
interesting, actually.
So the goal here with the Tomahawk land attack missiles would be to clear that airspace so we can put F-35s. I mean, there probably already were F-35s, but maybe some heavier bombers, all the way down to F-16s,
might have to refresh.
non-stealth aircraft.
They called out. And to be fair, Iran is not going to showcase their missile facilities or their nuclear facilities getting hit. So from Iranian media, right now what's kind of leading the charge is that a school was hit. The foreign minister said it was bombed in broad daylight, packed with young pupils. So they said dozens of innocent children have been murdered. The crimes against the Iranian people will not go unanswered. This is the kind of thing that's important to see and important to hear, because it's going to play a large role, whether this is accurate, exaggerated, or just completely made up. It is already playing a big role in Iranian propaganda and how they're viewing this conflict. So it's important to see this kind of stuff, even recognizing the role that it is designed to play. In fact, we've got an even more aggressive take here from the foreign minister in a minute. But we did get news just a few hours ago that the Iranian IRGC, or Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, has announced the start of Operation True Promise 4. And we've seen this with the launch of missiles and drones over the past few hours. They say the missiles and drones of the IRGC have targeted the headquarters of the 5th Fleet of the U.S. Navy in Bahrain and other American bases in Qatar and the United Arab Emirates, in addition to military and security centers in the heart of the occupied territories. They're talking about Israel, with powerful strikes. Quick note, let's get into what we have seen targeted so far. Then we'll go back to the foreign minister. Right now, again, targets all across the Middle East that Iran is going after, showing how vastly different this is than the 12-day war. We know at this point at least 35 ballistic missiles, as according to Manny Fabian, have been launched against Israel. It sounds like some of those were intercepted with air defense. We're not getting... Israel's on this OPSEC lockdown. It's crazy, especially compared to the 12-day war. Very, very little information coming out of Israel in terms of these missiles, even the missiles being shot down. Like, we're just not seeing that footage right now, which is different. So any reports of damage inside of Israel, the only ones I've seen so far appear to have been old footage, repurposed to be intentionally misleading. So got to be very careful at this stage with any battle damage assessments anywhere. Now, in terms of what Iran has targeted so far, we have seen, and I'll play some of the videos here, what appear to be confirmed hits on the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. We've got strikes. The Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar appears to have been targeted. The U.S. Air Base in the UAE. It looks like Kuwait may have taken some missiles as well, and maybe others. I saw some kind of sketchy footage that may have shown a missile impact near a U.S. air base in Jordan. We know that U.S. air defenses were active near Erbil in Iraq. So everything, right? Trump's plan here is to change everything. Iran's plan is to strike back at everything possible. And as I'm recording this, we just got new notifications that another wave of Iranian missiles is being fired. So it looks like this, by all accounts, is just beginning. Another Iranian response here that we're keeping an eye on is their proxy network. So the Houthis down in Yemen have signaled their support. They've talked about how they will avenge Iran. They're on the side of Iran. We've not seen them take any action at this point. What I would expect if the Houthis step into this is focused on U.S. naval warships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, and kind of trying to shut down any commercial shipping in that area again, at the very least distract the United States or harass our warships in the area. I would be surprised if the Houthis, it's possible, be surprised if they start slinging munitions at U.S. bases just from a different direction, although that is a possibility. In terms of the militias, Kataib Hezbollah, kind of the largest and most powerful Shiite militia aligned with Iran, issued a statement earlier saying, quote, "We will soon begin attacking American bases in response to their aggression." Now, I don't want to pin this as worst case scenario, but it becomes a very challenging scenario when the Iranian proxies, if the Iranian proxies were able to coordinate in some manner and start attacking all at once. So when you're talking proxies, that's Hamas, largely degraded at this point. Hezbollah does still have some significant capabilities. Notably, in the recent days, Hezbollah has said that they are not going to attack the United States or Israel if there are limited strikes in Iran, but going after Khamenei, they said, would have been a red line. It appears now whether or not Khamenei was actually killed, he clearly was targeted. We'll see what Hezbollah's response is to that. You've got Hezbollah, you've got the Houthis, and you've got a number of militias across Iraq and Syria that, could not inflict a strategic blow against the United States or really even Israel, but it could make things very, very challenging and much more complicated if U.S. bases in Iraq, especially, and other portions of the Middle East, are constantly having to deal with small drones in addition to watching out for larger Iranian missiles. Now, in terms of an assessment here, looking at Hamidezra Azizi of the Middle East Council, he said Iran's response has been unusually rapid. Missile launches reportedly began within a couple of hours with reported strikes in Tel Aviv and Haifa. The Iranian statement signaled that no red lines remain and that a full-force retaliation is underway. And that's something we've talked about in recent videos. And it was reinforced when President Trump just last night said this is, in so many words, this is regime change. So that puts the Iranian regime on the ropes. They have to fight for everything. Negotiations, we got to set those completely aside right now. They were supposed to go on here in a couple of days, but right now, Iran is in a fight for their lives. And the big question when we look at what comes next is, how does Iran respond? One of the hopes in any military action is that those first bombs start falling, those first missiles start impacting, and the receiving end says, this is too much. What do we have to do to get this to stop? We give up. That's one option. I think that was always a low likelihood of occurring, but if that doesn't happen, the far other end of that spectrum is what happens if Iran doubles down. There's a number of scenarios we've walked through in recent videos. Of course, we have the drone and missile strikes on regional bases. We've got the proxy networks. Less likely, but still possible, is the activation of organizations around the world, tapping into criminal networks to carry out what would essentially amount to terrorist attacks abroad. Again, Iran is not going to want to stand toe-to-toe, and they are not and will not be capable of standing toe-to-toe with the U.S. or Israeli military. So you have to expect, if they view this as a war for their survival, they will use everything at their disposal, and that includes tapping into terrorist networks wherever possible to carry out low-level attacks around the world. Now, another big question we're going to be keeping an eye on here in the next couple of days is, it sounds like the United States is planning on carrying out 1, 2, maybe 3 days of strikes, slowing down, checking out the battle damage assessment, and then trying to offer an off-ramp to Iran to negotiate an end settlement. That's speculation right now because we're just about 4 hours in to this campaign. But as of right now, it looks like the strikes are just beginning. Again, my prediction is that what we're seeing right now is the suppression and destruction of Iranian air defense assets from the United States as well as Israel. And while Israel goes after some of the senior officials, the United States will very soon start going after nuclear facilities and or more military facilities with conventional air power. So non-stealth aircraft in the skies over Iran in the very near future. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
For more than a century, Boy Scouts of America prepared over 130 million American boys to make moral and ethical choices, not just during their formative years, but for a lifetime as they grew into men. The first few words of the Scout Oath exemplify this. Quote, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country."
Right.
The Boy Scouts are embedded in our communities. They're sponsored by community organizations, service clubs, and churches. Many Boy Scouts have gone on to senior leadership positions in their communities and business in our nation's military,
I was
and
in
as
Boy
elected
Scouts.
representatives in local, state, and national office.
I quit pretty fast, though.
6 Boy Scouts have been elected President of the United States.
Wow.
11 of the 12 men to walk on the moon, Boy Scouts.
11 out of 12. Holy
Boy Scout
shit.
training focused on responsible citizenship, character and leadership development, patriotism, personal fitness, self-reliance, faith, and a wide range of outdoor skills.
Oh.
It was a great program. And this department had a close relationship with the Scouts almost since its inception,
That's good.
as many troops meet on military bases.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, too.
After 2012, however, the Boy Scouts lost their way.
Uh-oh.
And a once great organization became gravely wounded.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, crept in. The name was changed to Scouting America.
Wait, what? There's no way. Not Boy Scouts. Is this true? Wait, the Boy Scouts of America officially rebranded to Scouting America. What the fuck? I didn't even know. Wait. Oh my god. Yeah, all of this is new to me. I've never seen anything about this at all.
Girls were accepted. The focus on God as the ruler of the universe was watered down to include openness to humanism and earth-centered pagan religions. Scouting became an organization that no longer supported and celebrated boys.
Yeah.
They even welcomed the destructive myth of gender fluidity and transgenderism to infiltrate their membership.
Wait, what? This is in Boy Scouts? Aren't you like I was in Boy Scouts when I was 9.
Along the way, standards were lowered and merit destroyed in favor of an insidious, radical, woke ideology that is anti-America and anti-American.
What the
result,
fuck?
Membership cratered. Americans didn't want
No
this.
way.
In 1970, 10 million boys participated in
1970, there was 10 million Boy Scouts?
Currently, less than 1 million boys and girls.
So it went down by over 90%? Holy shit.
Participate. Further, many of these community organizations that once supported Scout troops, they withdrew their support. And Scouting America, the parent organization, filed for bankruptcy protection. The changes Scouting America made since 2012 have also jeopardized the relationship with this department.
What?
And I was very seriously considering ending our support of Scouting altogether. We have a department to protect, after all. Beyond that, the policies Scouting America have in place violate President Trump's Executive Order 14173, entitled Ending Illegal Discrimination. And
imagine being against that. Well, there's quite a lot of people that are.
Restoring merit-based opportunity. But before making this big change, I decided to meet with the current Scouting leadership to convey our deep concerns.
That's smart.
Based on that face-to-face conversation and subsequent conversations, Scouting America agreed to make several key reforms.
Okay.
And let me briefly highlight a few of them. First, Scouting America has agreed to comply immediately with the provisions of Executive Order 14173.
So you just basically put them on the spot, and now they're doing whatever you want. Wow.
This includes reviewing and replacing politicized, divisive, and discriminatory language throughout the organization, programs, and all publications. No more DEI, zero.
I'm very glad they're doing this, by the way. This is how you push back against these people. You have to hold their feet to the fire like this. This is great.
Second, the, quote, Citizen in Society Merit Badge that encouraged Scouts to explore diversity, equity, inclusion, and identity. They always
wait. So they wait a minute. Wait. They had a Boy Scouts, Scouting, that's not even Boys. So, okay, wait a minute. So you used to have like Boy Scouts. Like whenever I was a kid, there was like badges for like being able to start a fire and being able to identify, a bunch of different trees and stuff. And so we went from that, and now there's going to be badges for like being able to tell, count all 72 genders. And like there's literally, it's not even Boy Scouts anymore, and there's literal DEI badges. What the fuck?
Mask it under a name that sounds great, but it's doing something else. And then asks those Scouts to engage in activism on those topics.
What?
That badge has been discontinued.
Thank God. Bro, how did that even happen? Oh my God.
Third, Scouting America will modify its policy to make clear that membership will be based solely on biological sex at birth and not...
Oh my God. Obviously, Boy Scouts should be for boys. Like, dude, this is like... it's so obvious. Like, the sky is blue. Yes, Boy Scouts should be for... This is amazing. I'm happy.
Gender
it's
identity.
Great.
That means that the application, any application, will have only two sex designations, male and female.
Well, yeah.
And the application must match the applicant's birth certificate.
Well, I mean, of course, what else would it even be?
Scouting.
Johnny Somali got destroyed in court. Holy shit. Thank fucking God. I am so happy to see this happen. This is what you call the happy ending. This is the good ending. This is the right ending.
Johnny Somali, aka Ramzi Khalid Ismail, was absolutely crushed today in court, and we have massive consequences as the FAFO hits. We're going to get into that today on Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm
How about that?
American attorney over here in Asia, and this is a Fast Facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. And of course, we've been following the Johnny Somali trial from the beginning and giving you the
you've got to understand that a person like this is like really not that much. Like, these people are functional animals. They act like animals. They have no impulse control. They have no emotional regulation. Honestly, you could train a dog better than you could probably train Johnny Somali. So when you see a person acting out like this, really, it's not even in a case their fault. It's just the way that they are. It's just bad crazy bad spawnarchy.
Real narrative, the real facts, the real consequences on what's going down in Korea for Johnny Somali. And we are at the end here. We indeed had a massive hearing today that actually had a little bit of a twist, which we'll get into and get into the details here. So today's hearing, we thought, was just going to be involving modifying the indictment.
Isn't it crazy that like Johnny Somali was like the unspoken harbinger of the Minnesota fraud? Like, we didn't even realize that there was a connection at all until, and like, this is the type of thing where like all the pieces of the web come together and make the full picture. Can you believe that?
Potentially either, modifying the deepfakes, adding charges, maybe doing something else like that. But what they threw in was they added in closing arguments. Typically that is done on a different day, but they allowed those closing arguments to proceed today. So we actually have an update on Johnny Somali's closing argument and his whole spiel, his last attempt to make his defense, which failed miserably.
What a surprise.
We had the Somali conviction team present there, taking notes, taking transcripts, so we have very good details there.
He blamed it on South Korean culture? Yeah, of course he did.
Hank in the courtroom. This is the second time that Hank has not been there in the courtroom with Ramzi Khalid
That was
Ismail.
his friend.
Johnny Somali, aka Ramzi Khalid Ismail, RKI, made a very bad argument in terms of his closing argument. That was
no way.
Really received. Everybody in the court was shocked by the fact that he was making these statements and going this angle with his closing argument.
He's just a retard.
Even the
That's
judge
what retards do.
had a visible bad reaction to what he was doing. The prosecution also gave the recommended punishment, and it is way worse than most people would have expected. And actually has some real consequences for him, even in the United States. So we're going to talk about that as well. So let's jump right into it, guys. In case you don't know, Ramzi,
look at all of these charges. Holy shit.
Ismail is facing 8 different charges. That's 4 obstruction of business, 2 minor offenses acts, and 2 deepfakes.
Look at this guy.
He's been trying to get rid of this deepfake with Youngman and also the one with Bongbong, trying to kind of knock both of those things off, because that's stuff that carries serious.
It's illegal in South Korea to make deepfakes of people without their consent, and he did that, and he had one of like making out with this girl, and this is like super illegal over there.
Prison time.
That's what happened.
That's the thing where you can't wiggle out with a fine. And because of that, he's already guilty on all these other counts. He already pled guilty to all these accounts, but he's fighting these 2. He was really banking on today being a day where they drop those deepfakes, because these deepfakes.
And look at this here: rotting fish harassment, disrupting bus system, North Korean propaganda, disrupting 7-Eleven, twerking on a bus. Bro, what a fucking what an animal. Oh my God.
Prison time, mandatory recommendations.
It's crazy.
And he's got 2 of them on his count. They had this motion to modify the indictment, and they filed this days ago. I kept that under wraps because I wanted to see where this went and how this played out. Obviously, if there was a modification, we wanted to be able to explain it. So today we found out during the hearing what that was. RKI was hoping this was going to be the deepfakes dropped. they were going to get rid of the Jungmann deepfake because he had a quote-unquote unofficial settlement with Jungmann. But mind you, in the Korean system, the prosecutors have all of the authority as to whether or not a charge is dropped.
Yeah, it's like a charge against the state or against society, not against that person necessarily. So even if that person forgives you, my understanding of it is that, like, I mean, this is the way the legal system works. You still have to go through the process the same as anything else.
What they do with the charge.
It's not like you can just undo that by saying that the person doesn't care.
So even if you received a settlement with a victim saying, hey, or somebody else, the other
same
party
as domestic
there,
in the U.S.
because
Exactly.
these people, Jungmann and RKI, both showed the deepfake, and the deepfake was of Jungmann and Hank making out naked.
That's what I'm saying.
Very definitely fits the deepfake statute just to a T. But the prosecution did not drop the charges. In fact, they did not even mitigate the charge. All they did was update a table of contents and update dates and times.
Ohne sick one before large. Look at this. This was yesterday, by the way. This is how I play. Wait, one before? There's only 3 alive. This is ja... Saibu!
Standard, bro. 2, 1, go.
You need to go consistently at 380.
Looking
like, look at this potential. He just needs the right environment, bro.
Team capitulating to
Am
a
I
degree.
crazy? Am I delusional?
Paramount? Yeah, here it is. Paramount has won the bidding war for Warner Brothers. After Netflix withdrew, saying that the deal was no longer financially attractive, Paramount will now own the... Holy shit! Let me go and find it. Paramount wins. This is huge.
Story seems to have more twists and turns than an Agatha Christie novel. Just when you thought it was all over, along comes a last-minute play to completely change the game. It seemed like only yesterday I was reporting on the sale of Warner Brothers to Netflix after an intense bidding war with Paramount in a $100 billion mega deal that seemed to signal a shift in the balance of power in Hollywood.
Definitely.
The beginning of the end for both the studio system and the theatrical release model, as all the major players were slowly being gobbled up and absorbed into the streaming giants. But then Paramount took a look at the situation and decided...
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
And promptly upped their bid to a frankly ludicrous $111 billion, at which point Netflix decided, yeah, fuck that, bro, we're out. And just like that...
Man. So now Paramount's buying them out.
Paramount had pulled victory from the jaws of defeat, seeing off Netflix in an exercise of raw financial power.
They just brought in the money.
What the hell does this even mean for the future of filmmaking, theatrical releases, and the massive slate of IPs and divisions under the Warner Brothers umbrella? Because let's not mince words here, Paramount now control a pretty massive slice of the media landscape.
Yeah, look at this. They own, like, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, SpongeBob, Transformers. Holy shit. This is all under one company. Oh my god.
Not just entertainment,
Mission
IPs,
Impossible,
movies and TV shows,
Mortal
but
Kombat,
news
Star
networks
Trek,
as well. What are they going to do with all this power and influence?
Oh no.
Well, to answer that question, you should probably consider the man at the top of this particular pyramid, David Ellison, the billionaire owner of Paramount Skydance and the son of Larry Ellison, the world's third richest man with a net worth of almost $250 billion.
This guy's worth 250. Damn, bro. Like, so they just went in there, put their dick on the table, and they bought out. They just bought out Warner Brothers. Holy shit. God damn. Yeah.
Fuck.
Ellison started in the industry by founding Skydance Media back in 2006 with nothing more than a little
bought
elbow
TikTok
grease,
too?
some can-do
Man.
attitude, and yes, a massive infusion of money from his dads. What can I say, man? Having the
convenient.
world's third richest man as your father probably has a few perks.
Sure does. Yeah, lucky guy.
Anyway, fast forward a couple of decades, and David was keen to expand his business empire. And one quick and efficient way to do that was to buy out the struggling Paramount Pictures, which was the studio equivalent of a fixer-upper. It had lots of valuable IPs and networks under its control, but years of bad decisions and corporate restructures meant that it no longer had the resources and confidence to exploit them.
What a
That's
surprise.
great and all, but you might think that the FCC would have a thing or two to say about such a huge merger of corporations.
Nope.
Especially when it comes to news channels
Nope.
like CBS on the line.
Nope.
Not to worry though, because as it turns out, David is good pals with the man in the White House, and I
very convenient.
Kind of like to imagine the conversation played out something like this.
What do you want?
Hey Don, any chance you could lean on the FCC and get them to approve that Skydance merger for me? I sure would appreciate it, buddy.
I don't know about that, Dave. People might have questions.
Well, if you could make this happen, I'll fire everyone at CBS and replace them with people who only say nice things about you.
Consider it done.
Cheers.
Is that easy?
Bro. And so, approval was granted and the
Part of
deal
the
went
deal.
ahead.
Yep.
Paramount became Paramount Skydance, and David set his sights on his next target. Warner Brothers, another
Man.
studio with a shitload of potential and a ton of IPs that it's mostly too stupid or too incompetent to properly exploit. And funnily enough, another news network in need of, reconfiguring.
Wait, so CNN got bought out by these guys then? Wait a minute, so CNN is under this umbrella? Oh my god, wait. So it's Jesus Christ. DC, CNN, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, Harry Potter, DC Comics, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Transformers, Mission Impossible, Star Trek, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dora the oh my god. They just bought the whole thing. Jesus. The Chud News Network. Finally.
Ahoy there?
Don, it's me again. Listen, you know how you pulled some strings at the FCC for that Paramount merger? Well, I could use your help again. I'm buying Warner Brothers this time.
I don't know if I can do this a second time, Dave.
They have CNN.
We've got a deal.
The upshot of all the
oh wow, it's easy.
This is that I wouldn't expect too many regulatory hurdles for this particular deal. And if you happen to be a big fan of CNN,
You'll be seeing a lot of changes around here.
But what
man, so CNN in 1 year has gone from just being like a terrible, like, so basically CNN has crashed out so hard. They now have basically a partnership with a gambling company, which is Kalshi. And then now they're being sold to a company. Oh, dude, it's so over.
What does it mean for the entertainment
It's so
side of
over.
things, which is what we're really interested in here? Well, based on Ellison's previous work as a producer for Skydance, it's not difficult to see where his creative sensibilities lie.
Yeah.
He's very much an action guy, with a heavy lean-in towards male-driven properties with traditional heroes, and how
Based.
can I put this? I don't think he's exactly a big fan of the message.
Uh-oh.
In fact, considering Paramount Plus is rapidly turning into the Taylor Sheridan network, I think it's fair to say this guy sees Middle America for what it is, a potentially huge market that's been badly neglected in recent years, mostly by people who absolutely hate them. Imagine for a moment
That's probably true, yeah.
if there was a network that catered to their interests.
What?
Now, as
What?
you can probably surmise, the prospect of a multi-billionaire with conservative leanings merging two of the biggest...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if it, this is my outlook for it, right? Is it a good thing that there's a consolidation of all of the media companies under one group of people? No. But I'd rather it be under a group of people that I would slightly more agree with.
Studios in Hollywood together
Total
under
Chud
his
victory,
personal
yeah.
control went down about as
Yeah,
well
there's
as
not going to be any more gay people in these movies, guys. It's over.
expected with the usual crowds. Oh dear, it's a bit scary when you don't have an absolute stranglehold on modern culture and have to compete with
this is the reason why they get mad.
Other creatives that don't share your particular worldview, isn't it? Pass me the world's smallest violin, will you? I mean, considering Ellison owns Paramount already, his first order of business should have been to nuke Kurtzman Trek from orbit, decanonize every show they've ever sharted out into the world, and have the entire secret hideout team forcibly escorted out of the building.
That's what they should do, honestly. Like, really, like, if they shut down some of these, like, annoying woke shows, and they said, listen, guys, nope, and that was it, I honestly think that they would gain so much support, it would be insane. I don't think that people realize how much resentment there is towards that type of messaging and ideology. I think there are so many people who are just totally fucking tired of it. And honestly, I'm not just speaking for myself. I think there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Fuck it, you can just buy out their contracts if you have to.
Just buy
it's not
them
like
out.
you're short on money. But whatever you do, just get
Infinity
those useless
money.
retards out of there. But what about Warner Brothers' other IPs like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and the entire DCU? Well, I'd be lying if I said I was disappointed they weren't going to fall under Netflix's control. I mean, Jesus, could you even begin to imagine what a Netflix adaptation of Lord of the Rings would look like? We may just...
Dude, it's, again... We are so lucky that Lord of the Rings was made in a time before putting a political message inside of every piece of media was mandatory. We are so insanely lucky that we missed only 5 or 10 years. And that's it. And you can still go back and you can still watch those movies and they're just as good as they were back then.
Dodged the biggest bullet in entertainment history. Wouldn't get too comfortable in that Warner Brothers office if I were you, James.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not going to pretend that this is an ideal outcome by any stretch, and I don't particularly love the idea.
It's always better for your side to win than the other side. Even though, you could say your side winning isn't always the best thing.
Of independent
It's the lesser of two evils.
Studios merging together into homogenous mega corporations because, let's be honest, it's bad for competition and bad for creativity. But on the other hand, if ever there was a definitive signal that the age of identity politics and the message has come to an end in Hollywood, I think this just might be it. The great experiment that's decimated pop culture for the past decade is well and truly over. Good.
I don't know if it's over yet, but it will be over. And I think that it will truly be over when you have all of the artists and other types of creative people that get
Understand that at the moment, that oil pipeline can only handle 5.5 million barrels of crude oil per day, which is only about 30% of total Saudi production, and that does not include the totals of Iraqi, Kuwaiti, Qatari, Bahrainian, and UAE oil production as well. They currently do not have a pipeline or a greater access to the pipeline in Saudi Arabia, and the pipeline would not be able to handle the capacity, meaning that the remaining, or the largely free navigation of the waters within the Strait of Hormuz for global oil tankers is incredibly important to global oil market stability. It appears that the Iranians have realized that that is the case, and the Iranian Navy did announce earlier today over a radio announcement the following. This is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy of Iran. Effective immediately, all navigation through the Strait of Hormuz is prohibited. No vessels of any type are permitted to transit the Strait of Hormuz until further notice. This is the IRGC Navy out. We'll be playing the audio recording of the significant announcement right here.
This is Sepah Navy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. From now on, all navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden. No ship in every type is not allowed to pass from the Strait of Hormuz till next notice. This is Sepah Navy, out.
While we were hearing of this significant development, we actually have more breaking news coming out at this moment. And Matthew, what do we have?
Okay, so we've been wondering if there's going to be some type of issue here domestically in the United States. We're currently getting our first signs that U.S. authorities appear to be concerned about what's taking place in Iran, possibly spilling over into the U.S. domestic soil. We're hearing that some bases are apparently removing the Trusted Traveler program. They're suspending it until further notice, and they're elevating their force protection conditions to Bravo. That's at some U.S. bases in the United States. We're also hearing, as well, as you can see here on the screen, it looks like U.S. Secret Service has ramped up presidential protection as well. We're also hearing that apparently, according to reports, that the FBI Counterterrorism Division is in overdrive right now, trying to make sure that they're thwarting any type of threat that might be posed by any possible bad actors in the United States. So it certainly is a time, by the way, not a time to panic or freak out or something, but it is very wise to exercise caution in public spaces as of right now. We don't know exactly what the extent of this is going to be, so we'll have to see where this goes right now. But apparently it looks like authorities are either taking an abundance of precaution or they might have received some type of actionable intelligence, perhaps. We're just not entirely sure yet, but currently a bit of a situation starting to sort of take over in the United States.
It does appear that at the moment there is a significant concern that domestic terrorist activities may be supported and functioned by the Islamic Republic of Iran or elements of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that may have been homegrown on U.S. soil as the conflict continues to develop within the Middle East. This, once again, will require a significant amount of diligence by the U.S. citizenry to report any suspicious persons that appear to be up to nefarious activities to local law enforcement to see that such acts may be thwarted if they are being attempted on U.S. soil currently. It does appear that largely most internal or domestic law enforcement agencies are preparing for such eventualities and circumstances to develop on U.S. soil, which once again I do have to point out that is the duty of largely all American citizens that are concerned for the safety and well-being of the Republic to report any suspicious activities or individuals to law enforcement authorities, considering that at this moment in time the chances of possible domestic terrorist activities is fairly likely or likely high as a result of the ongoing attacks against the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Islamic Republic of Iran possibly calling upon individuals who have been radicalized here on the home front to be able to conduct attacks against the citizenry at large. We have also been able to hear that at the same time, moving us back into the Strait of Hormuz developments, which have just been happening quite recently, we were able to hear that multiple insurance companies have already started to cancel policies for oil tankers and ships within the Gulf.
What the hell kind of business model is that? Why? What's the point of insurance if you start canceling it when they need to use it? I mean, that seems a little bit sketchy, doesn't it?
It really does, and I feel like that's a violation of a policy. Like, you can't just cancel a policy unilaterally like that when someone's been making payments diligently, which all of these companies are always making diligent payments on their vessels, because this is what the insurance is for. But currently we're hearing, and we don't know who it is, but some of the larger insurers exist in foreign countries like the United Kingdom and such, that apparently they must be canceling their policies on these larger ships. So even if the United States tries to escort these vessels in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, which might be fairly difficult if the Iranians lay a minefield, it's going to be next to impossible. Even still, these ships might not volunteer to make the passage with the U.S. warships, because if they somehow do get hit, there's literally no insurance to cover the damages or the loss of the vessel if that occurs as well. Also, to cover injury or death of the crew members on board, which generally the ship or the insurance policies on board these ships generally cover the employees or the crew members of the vessel as well. We have also been able to see additionally that it does appear that oil companies are already suspending shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, according to Reuters reports. And we can generally confirm that according to marine traffic. If we take a look right now at the Strait of Hormuz, the general endless flood, and it actually appears that a lot of people are trying to axe this. Okay. Well, let me go get marine traffic up on a second screen. It appears that marine traffic is not happy right now. So let me go get that again really quickly. And here we are. I don't know why marine traffic did that. That was really weird. But the endless stream and flow of oil tankers flooding in and out of the Strait of Hormuz has generally come to a slow rolling stop, and will most likely come to a complete stop over the following day, which is today right now. We actually have more breaking news coming out at this moment. Matthew, what do we got?
Okay, so we're hearing that sirens are sounding off again in Bahrain. We have seen Bahrain take many direct hits. In fact, the Iranians were able to somehow hit the radar sites, the sort of higher-end radars that the U.S. military had installed there on Bahrain. They've destroyed some of them with their Shahed drones. We're also hearing that Bahrain's apparently under a new missile attack. We're not sure how many missiles have been launched at Bahrain, but apparently that's underway at the moment. Also, by the way, we have just seen, this is a sort of rare announcement. The U.S. has issued a rare worldwide caution to citizens for fear of Iranian retaliation. That's a worldwide caution, by the way. That's not limited to one country. That's issued to any country anywhere in the world where U.S. citizens are currently occupying. So that is very interesting there. It's a rare alert that we're hearing about. We're also seeing as well that we've gotten some imagery showing the damage at the naval base at Chabahar Port in southeast Iran, and it looks like the damage is pretty significant with these opening rounds of strikes. So, Enforcer, what can you tell us?
It does appear that at the moment there were some significant strikes that did occur around the Chabahar port area. I'm currently trying to find y'all the exact location of the docks or moorings that we were seeing at the moment in the satellite photography. This appears to be some sort of an inlet around the port area. I'm looking for the specific buildings and facilities that would give us an idea of exactly where this is. It has a fairly distinct sort of a port layout, but for some odd reason, it does not appear that this satellite picture may have come out of Chabahar. It may have come out of somewhere else instead, because if we're looking at this right here, this is the port of Chabahar in its entirety, and this profile of a port layout doesn't really seem to line up with about anything that we would know. So let me go see if I can find the Chabahar port, or let's see here. Maybe it's inside of the Chabahar Bay area. Let me take a quick look around here and see if I can get you all some further details on this, because oddly enough, it doesn't really appear to be within the direct area of Chabahar itself. And actually, it is over here. It's actually at the Gulf of Oman, actually. It's not within the Chabahar Bay. It's right here. And it does appear that there were some Iranian surface vessels here, including what would appear to be a smaller corvette, and possibly a couple of coastal patrol vessels. All of these could be used for mine-laying activities, and we can also see some fast patrol boats, including the bottle rocket launchers, and a couple of anti-ship carrying boats right there as well. It appears that several of these have been damaged. We can confirm that the largest vessel, we would assume the flagship of this flotilla, the Corvette, has been directly hit and appears to be on fire and possibly sinking at its moorings, but it appears that other vessels so far have not suffered absolutely significant or irreparable damage at this moment, meaning that the larger portion of the Chabahar flotilla may be operational at this time. We do understand that the fleet at Bandar Abbas has also come under direct attack. As far as we are concerned on the channel for analysis, that is the most important fleet, or more so naval grouping, to be targeted and destroyed, as the Islamic Republic of Iran would use this naval grouping, which is the largest within the entire nation, to sally forth out of the port and attempt to mine the Strait of Hormuz, which will create a permanent blockade until the minefield is cleared. Much like our analysis assumed, the Islamic Republic of Iran is going to have a little bit of zeal within it for a while to be able to try and resist the U.S. attacks. We assumed that this would most likely take weeks or a couple of months to conclude, and it appears that based off of the veracity of the Iranian counterattack right now, we would assume that that analysis is largely dead on point. And that also means that the Islamic Republic of Iran, if that fleet is not destroyed or interdicted in its operations, will most likely attempt a mining of the Strait of Hormuz. We also understand that the two drone carriers, which are the cargo ships that were converted into carrying and launching drones, the Shahed Bagheri, and also, I believe, the other Bagheri, they're both Bagheris, but those are both currently around the area of Bandar Abbas. We don't know if they've weighed anchor and set sail into either the Persian Gulf or somewhere within the Strait of Hormuz, but we do understand that the largest portions of the Iranian Navy are currently within Bandar Abbas. However, there is a little bit of an issue with striking Russia, more so Iranian naval forces within Bandar Abbas, because somewhere within the port, we are assuming at this mooring right here, as this is where we last saw it on satellite photography and also video published by the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Russian corvette, the Stoiky, is currently based out of this port and was involved in military exercises right before the strikes, which means that if the United States tries to hit Iranian naval vessels within this area, there is the possibility of Russian collateral, i.e. the Russian vessel being damaged or Russian sailors being killed in the process, which could create a significant diplomatic spat with the Russians, which we probably are trying to avoid. It does appear that we actually have more news coming out of this moment. And so, Matthew, what do we got?
Okay, so it is actually very remarkable what's been happening right now inside of Dubai and the UAE. Dubai has been getting hit time and time again. In fact, we've seen strikes literally right next to the Burj Khalifa, which is the largest building or one of the largest buildings in the world. It's a mega tall skyscraper. Apparently, there was a drone that hit like right next to it. And we also are seeing that the Palm Hotel and Resort, which is apparently pretty famous, apparently got hit as well, that we're seeing here on video on Twitter. So it's really insane how the UAE has been hit, and it seems like the targets are civilian targets. The Iranians are not just hitting military; they are striking into civilian populated areas that are very, very popular. So this is quite interesting to see. But Enforcer, what do you have for us?
It does appear that we do have video footage here. Sadly, we did have a clip earlier, and I do have to say, folks, that unfortunately, I hope that many people have their thoughts generally towards the direction of our Gulf state allies, as we have heard that many innocent civilians inside of Qatar Qatar, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates at a minimum, and possibly some civilians within Kuwait and Saudi Arabia have already been killed ruthlessly by the Islamic Republic of Iran's government in its counterattacks against civilian populations throughout the entirety of the region. So it does appear that at the moment, the Islamic Republic of Iran has not only extended its reign of terror towards the United States and Israel, which opened the attacks, but it's also extended its reign of terror against innocent civilians and passerbys, which are currently within the areas of all of our Gulf state allies at the moment. We can confirm that several Emirati civilians have been killed so far in the strikes on both Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which makes this a rather unfortunate occurrence, to say the least, and is incensing Gulf state allies to join us in our military operations against the Islamic Republic's regime and its reign of tyranny throughout the region. We can see in this video clip the incoming impact near to the area of the Burj Khalifa and the smoke that was rising not long after. You can actually see the explosion right there, and soon the smoke will rise from the area around the Burj Khalifa. From what we understand, this impact was near to the base of the Burj Khalifa on one of the supporting buildings on the Burj Khalifa campus, which gives us an indication that either the Iranians are attempting to conduct an attack on the Burj Khalifa and it fell a little short, or that they're trying to generally see that the Burj Khalifa is unusable at the moment, considering that is a high point of pride and prestige for the United Arab Emirates, considering that it is currently the tallest building in the world. We can actually see the smoke rising from that explosion right here, and civilians largely starting to clear out the area after the explosion rocked the surrounding areas of the city. We have also been able to hear of significant strikes that have occurred just south in Abu Dhabi. We do not have any new footage of that at the moment, but the strikes were significant, and due to the sensitivity of the fact that several Emirati civilians were confirmed dead in the explosions that we did see on film that have happened after we were live last night, we will not be showing those clips here on air, as they do involve the deaths of civilians on the ground inside the United Arab Emirates. We have also...
okay, wait, we have breaking news. We have breaking news right this second. So we've been mentioning the strikes that the U.S. and Israel has been conducting on the ports of Iran, and of course at the ports are the naval forces of Iran, for whatever that's worth. They're apparently still there. So we are getting new imagery showing the U.S. struck and destroyed an Iranian Bayandor class corvette in the port of Konarek this morning. Apparently it has been hit, and it's a very bad hit. That vessel is out of action, I can assure you that. The vessel is completely engulfed in smoke. There are two other vessels to the rear of this one. Also, by the way, Enforcer, if you can get this pulled up so that way you want to describe it, people can see what I'm talking about here. The vessel is on fire. It's completely engulfed in smoke, and it looks like a complete disaster site here. So this is a very interesting scene here. It looks like one of the first confirmed casualties we've seen of the Iranian Navy that we're seeing right here in this photo. But Enforcer, what say you?
This is actually a second satellite picture from a different angle, actually, of the same corvette that we saw hit just prior a few moments ago. We actually can confirm that. I tried to make sure that I could find the exact location. It appears that some people are calling this the Chabahar Naval Base, and some people are calling this the Konarak, which is the village closer nearby, naval base. Nevertheless, it is the same vessel, and we can actually confirm that it is this corvette that y'all can see right here. Let me see if I can get y'all some additional information at the moment on the specific class of vessel, which is the Bayandor class corvette, and let me go get that here really quickly. The Bayandor class corvette is this one seen here, which while it looks like an absolute piece of junk, y'all would be surprised to know that this is actually one of the most heavily armed vessels within the Iranian Navy, save for a couple of other vessels that are slightly larger. The largest Iranian service vessels are generally that of the corvette class, meaning that they're fairly light in tonnage and fairly light in firepower. But we can understand that this vessel would have been crewed by a crew of, let's see here, 140 men, has a range of about 25 to 100 nautical miles, has a top speed of about 20 knots, and also it does appear to have fairly limited armaments in terms of what it can carry. It can carry 4 C-802 anti-ship missiles provided or generally purchased by the People's Republic of China, but it also has one main gun, the 76mm or 62mm Fajr 27 dual-purpose naval gun. That would be the main gun at the turret case on the bow of the vessel. We understand that we can also see that it has one twin 40 or 56mm anti-aircraft gun, 2 Oerlikons, and also 2 50 cals and 2 triple light torpedo launchers. In general, this thing is wildly unarmed, but this is about the best the Iranians have to pose, at least in terms of naval strength, and this is one of the few vessels that has a large enough displacement to be able to carry mine-laying devices and also mines to be able to drop in the Strait of Hormuz. So it does appear that the United States is trying to generally remove Iran's mine-laying capabilities at the moment with these strikes. We are hearing further information coming out of this moment. Matthew, what do we got?
Okay, so we have gotten confirmation from CENTCOM sources directly, so you can take this one to the bank. The CENTCOM, for the first ever time in history, has used one-way attack drones in combat during this Operation Epic Fury, which is the name of this operation that's currently taking place on Iranian soil by U.S. and Israeli forces. These are low-cost, one-way drones, very similar to the Shahed drones that Iran has been using against Israel for years, and apparently they're now being delivered some American-made retribution through these one-way drones. So in the midst of the airstrikes, apparently, and I would assume that these are most likely Lucas drones, I'd imagine, that appears to be one of the main touted weapons the U.S. is currently in their possession of for one-way attack drones. It sounds like that's probably what they're talking about. So that is interesting. First time ever, by the way. This is historic for U.S. military doctrine. We've never done this before, and it seems like it's actually working quite well for the most part. But Enforcer, what can you tell us?
It does appear that according to U.S. Central Command, they have put out the following statement only 3 minutes ago. CENTCOM's Task Force Scorpion Strike, for the first time in history, is using one-way attack drones in combat during Operation Epic Fury. These low-cost drones, modeled after Iran's Shahed drones, are now delivering American-made retribution. This is an open statement by U.S. Central Command showing that the United States is using one-way attack drones against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Sadly, we have not been able to get any video evidence of these being used so far. The statement by Central Command does verify that we are currently using these right now against the Iranians, but we do not have any video or picture evidence to show you all at this moment confirming these U.S. drones to be used. We actually do have additional pictures and footage from Central Command as well, actually showing some of the actions by U.S. surface vessels here in the operations against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Let's take a quick look at this footage, as it appears to be showing a missile that was fired by a vertical launch cell on board an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. I'm about to turn Irish here for some reason, but here's the clip. Actually, folks, I'm sorry. That is actually the launch of a Tomahawk cruise missile off of an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer from its vertical launch cell. That actually means that this footage is most likely from around 10:30 local time, about several hours ago when the strikes first began. And this also does confirm that the United States Navy was the one to largely open up the attacks with its Tomahawk cruise missiles against the capital of the Islamic Republic of Iran inside of Tehran. But let's take a little bit of an additional look at this footage. We can also see aircraft being launched over the Abraham Lincoln and the Ford. And we can also see the United States striking and destroying Iranian assets during the midst of the ongoing or opening of the airstrikes against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We can see that radar facilities, drones, and also other military installations were directly targeted, including what this appears to be as an air defense system, which does not appear to have been operational at the time, but will no longer have the chance to try and be operational. Also, one thing that's really...
massive, we have breaking news for certain right now. Israel is claiming that Khamenei's body has been found in the rubble. They are saying that they have found the body of the Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. Allegedly, they have found his body. So it could be, it sounds to me like he is dead. I think the Ayatollah is actually dead as of right now. So he apparently did not escape these strikes, if this is indeed a true report here. Of course, this is something crazy, so we're waiting for more confirmation of it. But Israeli sources, at least two major Israeli sources, are saying that Khamenei's body has been found. So this is historic, if this is true. We're waiting for some more backup information on this, by the way, but that is crazy right there. If the Ayatollah is dead, that means they no longer have their head of government. And also, we have heard as well that apparently members of his family are also deceased as well in these strikes. Apparently, they got wiped out in a large swath. So this is crazy right here. Enforcer, what can you say about that?
It does appear that, at least according to Israeli claims at the moment, which I do want to make incredibly clear are only Israeli media claims, they are stating that Israel has claimed to have found the body of the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei within the debris fields of one of the initial strikes started by U.S. and Israeli forces at 10:30 local time several hours ago. We are not entirely sure if these claims can be verified at the moment. We are waiting for pictures of one of the initial strikes started by U.S. and Israeli forces at debris fields of one of the, stating that Israel has claimed to have found the body of the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei within the debris field wasn't necessarily true, and if he was running from anything, it was more so his corporeal form. But we will be waiting to see if we can get any further details.
More details as well. The Israeli media are also claiming that Israeli agents have retrieved the body of the Ayatollah. So not only have they allegedly visually identified that it's Khamenei, they've allegedly retrieved the body as well. So that is interesting. That means generally nobody knew where Khamenei's body was even at when it comes to the Iranian sources knowing where he was at. If this is true, this is massive. In fact, it could be that he just he died scared and alone, basically in the rubble underneath a building or something of that nature. We're not really sure yet, but we're waiting on more confirmation. This could be the biggest story possibly of the year or possibly the decade, actually, that we're hearing about right now. So also we're hearing from another source in Israel is saying the exact same thing. They're saying they've recovered the body as of right now. So this is pretty compelling. Netanyahu's also saying that Khamenei is likely no longer alive. He said that about an hour ago. So this seems to line up with it. So this is unbelievable. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. I'm not really sure what to say about that.
This will be a significant loss for the Islamic Republic of Iran, and while they will be able to generally lay out Ali Khamenei's death as a martyrdom in the name of the Islamic regime, it's highly unlikely that this is going to really stir up any sort of patriotic sentiments or any sort of sentiments for revenge within the Iranian military or the Iranian armed forces at large. Considering that a lot of the members of the Iranian military itself and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are generally diehards to the Islamic regime, while martyrdom is generally fairly significant, at least ideologically, it may not pose any sort of a significant boost or rallying within their morale to try and avenge Khamenei. It may actually show that the situation is truly hopeless, because they have claimed that over about the past several hours, really about the past 14 hours or so, that Khamenei has been alive this entire time, and this would actually be a major shock to many, as he would now have been announced dead, and was, as a matter of fact, dead about the entire time since the strikes began. We're going to be waiting to get any additional evidence and information on this. I do want to make this clear, folks, that these are preliminary reports, and Israeli media sometimes does have a tendency of kind of just making stuff up, so we're going to just work off of this with a grain of salt at the moment. We are waiting for pictures and confirmation of the corpse, and sadly we won't be able to show those on air to all of y'all, but once we are able to get proof of that and see it for ourselves off air, we will give y'all official confirmation if he is dead. Matthew, what do we got at the moment?
Okay, so jumping off of that huge story right there, we're currently waiting on more confirmation of that story about Khamenei. I'm not really sure where that's going to lead. We'll have to see if that's actually true or not, but it sounds true. We'll have to wait and see. Currently, we're getting some news about the U.S. attack plans, because many people are asking, what is the U.S. planning to do from this point forward? Because we've seen shock and awe being used last night. That was the opening moments of the attack, was a shock and awe strategy. Largely, it did put Iran on the back foot, by the way, but we're seeing Iran has regained their footing, and they are putting some pretty bad damage on partner states in the region. And apparently the air defense is getting overwhelmed already this early into the war. We are hearing from the U.S. president that, according to an Israeli source, the U.S. president says he can make this long, he can finish it in days. Either way, it'll take Iran years to recover. We're also hearing from other top U.S. officials that they're saying that this will not be lasting merely days, it will be lasting at least weeks. So we are looking at a prolonged conflict here. I think that's very clear at this point. Also, by the way, if the U.S. had any hope that the shock and awe campaign might bring this to an end in just maybe a couple of days, that hope, I believe, has been dashed on the rocks at this point. It looks like we will be in for at least a multi-week campaign, if not a multi-month campaign, right now as of this moment. So this has turned into a little bit more than I think the U.S. was bargaining for, but generally it's still going the way of the United States and Israel, but it's not going as smoothly as I'm sure that some had hoped that it was going to go. So basically what we're saying here is brace, because it's going to be a multi-week thing.
And also, we will be making sure to cover this as much as we can and as frequently as we can while this is going to be ongoing. This is, of course, going to be a significant operation that we could be sure of. And it also does appear that at the moment we are still getting significant news, or at least rumors of the reports, that Ali Khamenei has been killed. I once again want to make this quite clear, folks, that we can never confirm these sorts of claims unless if the Israeli government makes that claim, the United States government makes that claim, the Iranian government makes that claim, or if we get picture or video evidence of the remains of Ali Khamenei where he has been found dead or has been recovered from. We're just not entirely sure what's going on with that right now, and I'm going to move us on from that news in the meantime until we can get actual picture or video confirmation or an official government statement in the meantime, as here on our channel, we always look for absolutely verifiable proof of a large or important statement like that. So while we are getting a significant rumor right now that it does appear that he's dead and the Israelis have retrieved the body, we're going to need an official government statement, or picture, or a video to confirm the death of Ali Khamenei. It's going to have to be one of those three, and we just don't have them right now.
So, in addition to the Israeli sources that have already reported the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei, we're hearing Israel's ambassador to the United States has allegedly told U.S. officials that Khamenei is in fact dead, and also we're hearing that other possible U.S. mainstream outlets are reporting his death. We're also hearing from several more Israeli sources that the Ayatollah is indeed dead. So, I would say at this point, in my personal assessment, there's a 95% chance the Ayatollah is actually dead, and there's also a pretty decent chance they've recovered the body. So it sounds to me like you can pretty much take it to the bank. We, of course, want that official statement from the government, but to me, I think at this point, with so many different credible outlets reporting it, it seems more likely than not that he's actually deceased.
And it does appear that we are starting to see higher likelihood at the moment that the story is in fact confirmed correct and Ali Khamenei has been killed. Apparently at the very opening of the strikes, meaning that for the last 14 hours, Iran and the entirety of the world has been operating under the assumption that he's alive, when in fact he's been dead the entire time and was apparently killed in the opening minutes of the strikes. We are waiting to see even further confirmation. It does appear that we're seeing that official confirmation may be coming out here incredibly soon, either from the United States or Israel, of his death. And if that is the case, we are definitely going to be seeing that the Iranians will take either a significant morale blow as a result of that information, or the Iranian armed forces will actually be rallied to be able to try and fight even harder, which would be generally unexpected at the moment. But a lot of people are talking about the current situation with the war in general, and what y'all's assessment of the ongoing operations are with the war against Iran. And Matthew, what are people thinking about that right now, and what are you thinking about that as well?
Okay, so this is a big ongoing question. We've so far seen the first day of war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. And what is your assessment of how well this is going so far for U.S. and Israeli forces? 49% said it's going very well and Iran will fall, while 24% are a little bit unsure. 15% said it's going as well as it can, and 12% said it's going very badly and there's not much progress. So right now, here's the situation. There's two major issues here. Number one, the U.S. air defense situation. How well is that going? And number two, how well is the airspace control over Iran going as well? Right now, we can confirm that the U.S. nor Israel have air supremacy over Iran. That's a little bit disappointing because the last time we saw air supremacy very quickly during the 12-day war, we are not seeing that this time. So that appears to be falling a little bit short. On the other hand, though, it does appear that air defense is generally holding in pretty well, but it's not holding in as well as it did during the 12-day war. So we are seeing hits in partner states. We're also seeing hits inside of Israel as well. But at the same time, the offensive actions on Iran have been widespread and extensive. They have been hit in a shock and awe campaign. They've had.
Also jetzt beklagen Sie sich mal nicht, dass Menge da raus, aber ich glaube, da sind noch eine Menge hier dabei. Irgendwann leidet der Geschmack dann runter. Du gehst auch noch weg. Haben die holen mir aus Argentinien Körnermais. Da waren ein paar übrig. Die haben den Winter über Sonne. Doch einem das Gärtnerherz höher schlagen lassen kann. Trotz Schmerzen in der Hüfte.
Military operation, but always be quite dubious. And I can say that while the Iranians have had a significant counter-response, at least from my analysis and its concerns, I generally expected that that would be the case, at least initially. And we actually talked about that in the literal hours preceding the strikes just yesterday. And so I would say that in my opinion, this is going about as well as we could have expected. The Bahrain Naval Station was evacuated, and so far we've only been able to confirm heavy direct hits and damage on U.S. bases that were pre-evacuated, like the naval station in Bahrain and others, meaning that that damage was generally already forecast and expected, as we didn't have any defensive forces within that area, and we also didn't have any staff within the area, which would result in heavy casualties if those facilities were hit. So for that reason, that damage really is more so forecast and expected damage, and isn't something that the Iranians have truly been able to deliver a heavy blow on us, at least for at the moment. We have seen that while the United States hasn't been able to achieve air supremacy within the first 14 hours, they have largely achieved air superiority over the Islamic Republic of Iran, as strikes are generally landing and hitting their marks throughout the entirety of the country, and very few, if any, missiles or other information at this time generally shows that the Iranians are able to intercept or stop U.S. or Israeli strikes, meaning that we do have air superiority, but not supremacy yet. We also have been able to hear that we actually have some major breaking news coming out at the moment, and it does appear that at this time, it does seem that we are getting visual evidence of the remains of Ali Khamenei and his death. Do we actually have that, Matthew, really quickly, where we can see that and look at that off air without showing everyone, so we can make sure to doubly confirm this?
The Israelis are not publishing the images, by the way, but I take this one to the bank at this point. I think it's safe to say this. There are visual confirmation that Khamenei is dead. That's being reported right now by major U.S. media outlets. It's also being apparently reported by the Israeli ambassador to the United States, who has sent, apparently, according to a mainstream outlet, they've sent an official letter to Washington informing them that Khamenei has been killed. And right now, Netanyahu is viewing the images, the visual evidence of Khamenei's death. So he is dead as of this moment. Khamenei is no longer alive, as far as we can tell. Unless all these different plethora of media outlets are all wrong, he is dead as of right this second. So yeah, I would say I'm personally assessing that he is dead. But Enforcer, what's your take?
It does appear that from what we can tell, at least according to preliminary information at the moment, and I do have to say that we are still waiting for an official government statement that is made to the public, either by the Israelis or the United States. Currently, this appears to be traveling around the back channels at the moment. Khamenei largely has been confirmed to have been killed. Apparently, his bodily remains, also called the corpse, has been recovered by the Israelis on the ground, possibly by Mossad operatives, and it appears that, crazily enough, he actually died in the very first minutes of the strikes that we covered last night, right when the war started. So it does not seem that he lived at all, and it also seems that the Iranian media, which has been claiming
sheep
for 14 straight hours
you
that he is in fact alive in a safe
This is
location.
a streamer. This one as well. Hey, what's up, buddy? What do they all have in common? They love money. Chocolate. Nope. Vanilla? The classic one. But why? Views! Have you ever heard of this guy? Or perhaps this guy before Classic Beta came out? Not really, nope. This is how their lives look like right now. Manipulation. Really good strategy against sheep. Hey, this is good! Meh, 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 meh. I just think streamers are lame. Ever since Classic was announced, they realized I don't need to be good at the game to milk Classic content. Oh my god! Yes! Finally! I can just make videos like this one. Guide on how to enter Onyxia's lair. Meh, meh, meh. Or how about you go to Wowhead and read the first comment. That's it. That's your guide. It's all because Shadowlands,
And coordinating
another
the attacks,
new world
or apparently
of
saying that he was alive, I guess in Valhalla or something like that.
People just weeks ago has now paid the price.
Warcraft expansion. I'm just thinking in my head right now how I used to make videos for each one of those since Cataclysm.
Charge. You're stunned. Recklessness. Mother wreck, you bad. You see? That's how I earn gold.
Looking at my old videos, I just realized how times have changed. So back in Cataclysm, I used to say everything. Bro, R-word, and I don't mean retard, that was a family-friendly word. And now here I am, I can't even say simp. First video of Shadowlands. I know it's been almost 2 months since expansion released, and this is my first video now, and I and see what do these people say.
Je connais bien le BG, je l'ai sortir du mauvais côté, j'ai cru que c'était là.
Hello, gentlemen. It's been a while. It's been 4 years since Pilaf has last posted a video, and you guys deserve to know what's been going on. I know a lot of you guys have been worried, especially the loyal ones, asking me daily if Pilaf is alive and if he's doing well.
Guys, I haven't seen Pilaf in forever.
Come back, Pilaf my friend. Oh, you're so bad.
People love Pilaf, for example. People thought he was great, he was funny.
I have escaped. By the way, microphone is a little bit far away, so I'm not sure how well I sound. Obviously, I could do this and then probably sound phenomenal. Hello guys, what's up? But then you cannot see my physique, right? So what's the point, guys? I've been in prison for 4 years. Might as well show you my new upgraded physique. All I did there was work out. What else can I do?
Nobody cares about when you do that and there's like muscles there. Nobody cares about that. We don't want to see that.
Oh my god, this feels weird. There's a camera, there's a microphone. I guess there's people. Hello. I actually wonder how many views will this video get. I mean, I haven't uploaded in 4 years. I wouldn't be shocked if this video gets like 5,000 views. Maybe I am completely irrelevant, or everyone that followed me unsubscribed, died, or thought I died, moved on, quit WoW, whatever it is. Hey, 5,000 people. Now, during my absence, I followed every drama, every new WoW expansion patch, every new hair color during BlizzCon. My favorite is green. Every new pronouns that they created, everything. I had so many links and video ideas and topics to talk about. All the jokes, dude, the jokes are fucking fire. Trust me, jokes. However, there is one little problem. I got this new PC a couple of months ago, and in process of copying everything from my old hard disk to my new one, and it's gone. Everything got lost. It's gone. It's all gone. I don't know how many of you remember my friend Sadly Late. Meet Sadly Late. Ex-officer of the guild. Bought Gladiator in MOP.
Guys. You gotta do what you gotta do.
But he was the guy to blame. Oh, trust me, bro. You just click, and everything is fine. Next thing you know, I installed new Windows and all my video ideas and everything's gone. Now I'm sitting here literally without anything in front of camera. You know what I mean? This is just like... Anyways, I'm scrolling through, having fun. All of a sudden, I see this. And I think to myself, wow, perfect expansion to come back to. Without yapping too much, official World of Warcraft release is in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Official release of The War Within is in 5 hours. So I'm gonna go play that and record, and that's probably gonna be my first video. If you have any questions or topics you want me to talk about in my next video, why is there a fly? Just type them down in comments and I'm gonna look through everything. I promise you that. Anyways, what the fuck is this? Hey, that's a completely new character. Okay, I remember that. Degenerates, ugly, disgusting.
The reason why I have one long fingernail is because it's something that I learned whenever I was younger, because all my teeth would have holes in them. And so I kept one fingernail long so I could dig the food out of the holes in my teeth.
Guys, once I shat myself during next speedrun on Instructor Azuvius and kept on playing like that till the end. By the way, we went to military quarter first. And Glory is looking for raiders to join our team. You cannot choose a new engineering specialization. Oh my god, guys, this is... Okay, this is too advanced.
And it also does appear, just to add a little bit of further information, that his son-in-law and his daughter were also killed in the preliminary or initial strikes that were conducted yesterday, 14 hours ago at this point, which we the Iranian Navy that was based in Bandar Abbas, but we're still waiting to get actual confirmation of that at the moment. We see smoke rising from the radome facilities, and we can also see visible damage to some of the radomes. You can kind of see it a little bit. And the besieged under his command like dogs. The United States has been able to see that those innocent Iranian civilians have been avenged at the hands of our armed forces. So moving on from that major news at the moment, which is absolutely significant, and this is probably one of the largest deaths that we've seen in the Middle East, or really around the world, to be entirely honest with y'all, since the death of Osama bin Laden in the SEAL Team 6 raid, which was conducted over a decade and a half ago. It does also appear that we are seeing that the Islamic Republic of Iran, at least at the moment right now, seems to be losing a little bit of speed. We're actually not hearing of missile attacks being as frequently conducted as they have been over a pretty much a endless period over the past 14 hours, which may be showing that this may be some sort of a propaganda hit, and this message may be spreading around inside of the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're waiting to see if that's going to be the case. That might be true.